Are we rolling? What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Once again, I'm Dan at Tring Repair and Key Shop. Good to see you. Back this week with another video. We've got these cool Niro riding boots in for a premium leather resole, and also we're doing some cool Triumph toe plates that I haven't shown you yet. So keep watching, see what it's all about. Okay, so once again, hello, welcome back, guys. Now, I actually just shot that intro a couple of times experimenting because I've got a new mic, including cute fluffy bit. A bunch of you were saying I've had audio problems. I know I've had audio problems, so hopefully that should have sorted it out. But for now, let's talk about the job. So, we've got these lovely handmade Niro riding boots. Okay, really nice Italian stuff. They need new leather soles, so we're doing JR soles, JR dovetail heels, but what I'm actually doing this time around is putting on some Triumph toe plates, which I haven't shown you yet, so they're going to look really nice. And the customer wanted to have a bit of fun with this job, so we're doing red soles, so I just think the red on gold is going to look really nice. I'm excited for this job, so let's get started. Alright, let's get to business. Has anybody seen Ron? Okay, boot on the last. First thing we're going to do is just take our top lift off. Vibram, actually. These have got some Vibram rubber heels from the factory. There he is. How is everybody doing? I haven't asked you guys for a couple of videos. I do enjoy hearing what you have to say, not what you're getting up to in different parts of the world. So what I'm doing here is just taking the heel block off. However, I haven't had one of these for a while. This heel block is compressed cardboard, essentially. Now, these are good boots. I don't know why they've got a compressed cardboard heel, but it's not going to come off like a normal heel block. It's just going to crumble, you see, like that. I mean, some people say compressed cardboard, some people say fiberboard, but to be honest, this will be easy enough to just whip off on the machine, I think, so we'll just do that quickly. Right, so our heel block's out of the way. Now we've just got to take off this rubber sole guard. There's just some tiny stitches in there, so all I'm going to do is go around with a knife, break the stitches quickly. Alright, and then take our heat gun, which I like to pretend is a ray gun. Pew pew! Apply some heat, and then it should peel right off. Alright, and with a spot of luck, he should nicely just come off. Look at that. Okay, rock and roll, and you know by now what's next. We're going to cut off le sole. So we just cut right between the old leather sole and the welt. Well, no, that's a lie actually, because what we've got on this pair of boots is a mock welt, and we're going to Blake stitch them on. Give us a chance to use my new Blake stitcher that I've got for the shop. Exciting times, guys. Freeze! Now, the reason I'm just using the ray gun again is to heat up the insole, so we need to take the insole out. Two reasons. There he is. It's a heel insole. We're going to keep that aside, keep it in shape. Two reasons: we need to remove it when we come to Blake stitch it. I'll tell you why later. But also the little nails there, we've got to poke them out from the outside through to the inside to make room for the new nails. right, so then we just reach down inside, we've got pliers, and get hold of our nails and pull them out. Now, somebody said in my last video, they were really looking forward to watch the video, but they couldn't watch it to the end because they were disgusted at how I dropped the nail on the floor. It's rubbish. It's old. It's going to get swept up and put in the bin. But to try and keep everybody happy, I'm going to put this one on a little velvet cushion. Now, next teeny tiny thing we need to address is that as the old sole's been coming off, part of the mock welt has just come away. Now, it's only glued on from the factory, so it's understandable sometimes it comes away when we're repairing it. So a dab of glue there is going to sort it right out. Alright guys, so next step is something to normally save till the end, but because of how I'm finishing the sole, I'm going to do it now. Because these are horsey boots, we've got bits of mud on them, just on our mock welt there, bits of dirt and mud. So what I'm going to do is just go around it with some saddle soap, Tarago brand here, and clean it up. We may as well clean the rest of the uppers up whilst we're doing it. So a bit of water, okay, our Dauber brush, mix it up into a little bit of lava, and then go around again, all the little nooks and crannies of the cracks of that mock welt and get out that dirt. All right, and like I said, we may as well do the rest of the boot whilst we're doing it. Saves us coming back to it later. Tell you what, this brand smells really nice. Anyway, now saddle soap's great, cleaning off all our dirt, but it's a little bit harsh for leather, so we don't want to leave it on there. Once we're done with it, take it off and then put some nourishing cream on it. I'll do that at the end of the repair. I'm just going to get a little fold of cloth just to get into that mock welt and get rid of all the old residue. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now these boots are quite a simple construction. Our sole just goes right on top of the uppers. However, I'm just going to put a very thin sliver of cork in there because I know half of you are just here for the cork filler. And there's just a tiny little divot here in the heel I'd like to fill in. And once we're done with it, as long as it's all dead flat, it's not going to make any difference. If anything, it's just going to give it a slightly enhanced element of comfort. Alright, and then we just make sure it's dead flat, which it is, nice and smooth. Okay guys, rock and roll. So now we're at the stage where we can get our sole on. Now you should guess we're using the JR leather, and if you've been watching my channel for some time, you'll know this is what we use as our premium stuff, as it's some of the best in the world. Now, some of you have mentioned Baker's leather, one of the oldest tanneries here in England. Speaking to some of my colleagues and my dad, not very well known or heard of apparently, but I had a look into it, very expensive stuff. So maybe we'll give it a try and see how it goes. But for now, just taking a quick commercial break because I've got a guest for you. I've been promising to give him a shout out for a couple of weeks. It's going to be fun. Let me ask you guys a question. Who's ready to rock? Now, there's over 50,000 of us here on the channel now, and I reckon 10%, that's 5,000 of you guys, I reckon are ready to rock. This is my friend Mark. He's an awesome guitarist, does a channel on playing guitar. Let's see some action. So that was Mark, guys, of course, rocking out to Guns N' Roses' November Rain. I think we might have seen Brodan backing up on the bass. If you liked that, Mark's channel is called Mark Guest Guitar. Here's the link to his channel. I think he's got a couple of 100 subscribers. I'm sure we can double that. Mark is actually the owner of the local gym I go to. Mark said he'll give me free gym membership if we can get him 1,000 subscribers. Okay guys, back to business. So it's time to get our sole on. We've got our JR sole and our boot prepared. It's time to get glue on our sole on our boot. So, you know the story. Let's get sticky. Okay, so I'm going to give it 2 coats because the JR leather is quite absorbent, soaks in the glue. Once it's done, heat it up and stick it together. So you saw me just put the sole in the heat lamp, but I'm just giving both the boot and the sure blast with the heat gun. It makes things so much easier. I've only just recently started using a heat gun, and the only people I've seen regularly using one, Trenton and Heath, shout out to those shoe repair wizards. But for certain jobs, it just makes things a breeze. Okay, so just line you up. As always, try and get our logo centered as possible, just so it looks sexy when it's done. Okay, and then give it a whack. Okay, rock and roll. So now we just go around it and cut off all the excess and give it some nice shape. Okay, so there's our lovely JR sole on and cut to shape. So now we're moving on to some brass work. So we've got our Triumph toe plate. What we're doing is cutting our recess away for that now. I'll explain why in a bit. And just putting some brass lasting tacks in the heel. So our lasting tacks are just going right through the leather sole, through the heel counter, through the upper, and then flattening against the metal last. So that's what holds it in place. My shoes, do you know what? A lot of you guys ask me what I wear. When I'm at work, I just wear things that I don't mind getting dirty. These are a brand called Free Soldier, and they're actually a kind of sort of combat boot, suede, but they're just really comfy whilst I'm on my feet all day. There's no point wearing dress shoes to work, and doesn't matter if they get dirty. Alright, cool gang, so for our Triumph toe plate, it's the same as the Lulu toe plate if you've seen me do that already. It's quite thick, so what we do is we cut a recess away from the toe area of the leather, and then it just sits in there nice and flush, and we attach it with screws. So the way we start is we line it up where we want it, okay, and then we just take a knife and we score the leather with where we're going to cut it. Alright, now once we've done that, we can start actually cutting the leather away. So the problem with this is if you cut it too deep, you can't go back, and if you cut it too shallow, it's hard to correct. So once again, tense job calls for the tense music. So we're just about there, guys. One little fibre holding it on. There he is. Just needs a bit of tidying up, and then we'll see how the plate fits. All right, so now our recess is cut. We can just check that our plate fits. And there it goes, nice and snug. Let's move on. All right, so next order of business is to go back to the machine and cut a channel in the leather ready for the stitching. Oh man, look, 2 people have picked up their shoes, ruining my shots. I don't know, customers. All Alright guys, gloves on, which means we're at the stage where we dye the sole. You can do it at different times. I like to do it now just before we put the white stitching in. We're using Phoebe's professional dye, and when I first saw people using it, I thought they were saying Phoebe's dyes. But so, as I said, the customer wanted to go for a cool red sole on this, and the red and gold's really going to look nice. So let's get to business. Right, rock and roll. So as I said, we're using the Blake stitcher today to stitch our sole on, which I said I'd explain to you in one of the last videos, didn't I? So the difference of a Blake stitch construction is that the stitches go through the sole into the inside of the shoe, as opposed to an outsole construction where it would be stitched onto the welt on the outside. So this is just a different way of stitching. We do it when we don't have a real welt. Like I said, these have got a mock welt. So let's get to business. So what we've got here is an arm, and our boot goes over the arm, and that's how the machine gets to the inside of the shoe or the boot. Right, back at our last with tools. What are these for? Knife to cut off the new thread on the inside of the boot, get it out of the way. Hammer to hammer down our stitches as normal, but more importantly to hammer the stitches flat on the inside of the boot. So this stuff here is called Resolene. What it does is it gives us a waterproof acrylic finish that's just going to seal in our finish, because he's going to be using, customer I should say, is going to be using these outside. And when it goes on, it looks blue, but we give it about an hour and it's going to have a real nice glossy finish that we can shine up. Okay, cool, so we're just putting our Triumph toe plate on there. It's held in place with a bit of glue, but we're just using our little brass screws, the same as you get with the Lulu toe plates. So just get them in and then screw them in so it's nice and tight. Because it's metal work, that's why we use screws. Now I should have shown you earlier George in the window. He's all dressed up for Valentine's Day. He's got his flowers there and his poem. Now I normally have a great big bunch of roses in there with him, but obviously because of the lockdown haven't been able to go to the florists. They're shut. Now we have to be careful with these. We have to screw it in nice and tight, but we have to be careful we don't slip. Because the screws are brass, we don't want to strip the screws at all. Okay, lovely jubbly, there we go. Alright guys, so our sole's on and our toe plate's on. You can see I've scoured up an area ready for our heel block, and that's because we are putting the heels on. So let me show you how we make our heel block. So for our heels, we got our lovely JR dovetail heels and a heel block. So remember, the original heel block all crumbled apart. It was compressed cardboard. So this is a new heel block. Normally we charge extra for this, but seeing as customers letting us do a video, they're on the house. These are stacked to leather, so they're really, really nice. One thing we have to address when we're doing the heel block is sort out the pitch, and that means we need the heel block to be level so that the whole shoe sits level. As it is, that part there on the breast is far too high, which means the customer's gonna be wonky, gonna feel a lot of pressure through there. So let's just head to the machine and sand it down a bit, and I'll show you what it's like once it's level. Right, so there's our end result. Everything's angled in such a way that it's flat. Now, before, it would have been like this. It would have been just up in the air a little bit, so that's why it's very important we sort that out. Right, there we go, as our heel block all put together and level. Space Cat screensaver in the background, I know you guys love that one. So, next dilemma with our colour scheme, red and gold on this one. I wasn't sure what colour to do the heel breast. However, the customer said to me when we first spoke about this, the more fun the better, so I'm going to go with gold. Okay, so now the heel block's on and all sanded around. Before we do the nice finish on the bottom of the heel, we've got to attach the heel block properly with nails. So, what I haven't shown you before is when we're doing boots, it can be tricky to get the nails in, we use this tool, which is a slide hammer. Okay, so what happens is the nail comes down this chute and then is hammered in with this plunger. So it allows us to just get in there easier. So pop our nail in, position our slide hammer, and the nail doesn't come out until we just pull the plunger up, then it's there, ready to go, and he's in. Let's just do a couple more. Well, a couple more, 6. All right, home stretch gang. So now we're just doing some finishing touches, starting with dyeing our heel. Try and get it to match the sole as best as possible. Okay, rock and roll. So that's our heel all stained up. Now, next order of business is to just get our little brass tacks in this lovely heel. So what I'm going to do is just run around with a punch and just use this as a guide to mark out where I want the nails. It's a little easier to do this now than when I've got the nails in my fingers. And now we can go ahead and get our sexy brass pins in. Okay gang, getting there. So next step is to just go around and put some edge dressing on the heel and sole, and then we're on the home straight. Okay guys and girls, before we're done, let's make this presentable. So as always, we've got a nice leather here. We're going to condition it to keep it soft and supple before it goes back to the customer. So we've got the Woolly Creme Essential, which you've seen me use many times. And it's just going to be our moisturizer. We're going to get it everywhere, especially in these cracks. And it's going to keep it going. And the last thing we do is give these a waxy, oily finish. So we've got our waxed leather oil, my cherry blossom here. Ideal for riding boots, to be honest, because you know it gives it that element of hardiness and watertightness. So there we go guys, job done. Full JR soles, JR dovetail heels, custom red paint job, Triumph toe plates, Blake stitched, and a condition. I think they look fantastic. Yes, I'm dressed up. I thought I'd do another fancy thumbnail for this video, so I'm just getting ready to do the thumbnail and remembered I had to do the outro. I'll get the hang of this studio business one day. Thanks for watching guys. If you made it all the way to the end, hit like, it helps other people see this content. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. If you're one of my regulars, catch you next time. And I'll just finish by saying, if you have a mail order job, get in touch with us on the Tring Shoe Repair Facebook page and we can talk about your job. So once again, thanks for watching. I think the customer's really going to love these boots. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed shooting it. So till next time, cheers.